Sailor Moon is one of my all-time favorite series. Debuting in 1992 by mangaka Naoko Takeuchi, the character has stayed relevant in pop culture ever since, expanding outside the Japanese borders and making a large impact internationally. Following schoolgirl Usagi Tsukino, who through her pet cat Luna discovers she is the reincarnation of Guardian of the Moon, Sailor Moon, she and her friends the Sailor Senshi, who represent guardians of the other planets of the galaxy, defend the Earth's energy from the villains who try to sap the people's life force away from them. She's also joined by love interest Tuxedo Mask, representative of the Guardian of Earth. The story is sweet and sincere, and has themes of trusting your instincts and heart, love, friendship, and growing up. It's one of my biggest inspirations as an artist and a writer, and is one of the series that inspired me to create my own comic. One of its strongest facets is the chemistry between the characters. They feel like real friends who argue and fight, but who get along and come together. Its wide appeal and recognition has opened it up to be merchandised on everything you could imagine. Just by this initial video alone, you can see how many things Sailor Moon has been able to put itself on, from shoes, clothes, books, toys, pins, and many other things. You can see Sailor Moon is a force of merchandise. Moonies know we do not play around with our merch, and if this video is anything to show, that statement will be proven by the end. Believe you me, many a time, many an hour, and many a dollar has gone into this collection, but not a single regret. Well, actually one, but we'll get to that in its time. For now though, enjoy my humble collection. Let's start from the very beginning. It's a very good place to start with the manga. This particular release was done by Kodansha Comics back in 2012. This series of the manga aimed to be more in line with the Japanese original translation as compared to previous English interpretations. Each volume features a splash graphic of the Senshi in order of their discovery. Jupiter would have been number 4, but I lost that book unfortunately. They almost look watercolor-like. On the back features chibi versions of each of the Senshi, with a moon in the background of each of their respective uniforms' colors. I like the little Luna on Sailor Moons. These were the versions I got started reading when I was about 14 or 15, and are the ones that I recommend. On the inside we see these nice colored graphics, which we don't often see in manga, before getting into the book proper. I like that these versions kept the original Japanese names, as I don't think it was necessary to change, but English publishers of the day were what they were. I'd read these ones, to tell you the truth. I had a lot of happy memories flipping back through these, remembering all the good times and memories that this series left me. Next we have the previous English variation released by Tokyo Pop. I first got the Smile magazines at my old job at Planet Mix in Redwood City, California. These were the March 2001 and the July 2001 issues respectively. It covers the arc of Sailor Moon Stars, which in the anime was the final arc of the show, featuring Galaxia, the villain who has taken control of the Senshi, and at this point in the story has possessed Tuxedo Mask, who is trying to kill Sailor Moon. It's really interesting to look at these nowadays, as it was a capsule of what anime culture in the West was like at the time. If you wanted to read Sailor Moon back in the day in English, this was your only option, but it wasn't a bad one, save for it being a little jarring to read the old English names. Still, they're pretty good reads, and if you can find one of these old magazines, I definitely recommend picking up a Smile. It might just make you do it yourself, who knows. Another cool benefit of these is seeing the manga graphics in full page detail. Back covers are pretty cool too, especially this one right here. Just take a look, pause it and read this. It's funny, and I don't know if you could get away with that today. Being that it was a shoujo comic, there were a lot of other stories included, which I recommend giving the time to if you may, as it exposed me to some manga that I had never heard of. Maximus liked them. Next, from Tokyo Pop, we have Volume 4 of the manga. This was printed in the year 2000 and follows the Sailor Moon R arc, in which we first meet Chibi Moon, Sailor Moon's daughter from the future, who visits and becomes a little sister to her. On the back, we see a description of the show. It's pretty apt for the time, and it's a little jarring, like I said again, but it really was interesting to flip through and see the differences in the first and second English translations. From what I can tell reading through, they didn't butcher anything, or at least anything significant. But if you know of any key differences between the translations, let me know. For completionist's sake, I think it's a really cool piece, and I thank my parents for getting me this one Christmas in college. I don't recall which, but I appreciate it, and so does Maximus. Now we have my Sailor Moon enamel pin collection. Pins are the main thing I like to collect, mostly for their wearability, their fashionability, and that they're relatively cheap and don't take up much room. These Sailor Moon pins, some bootleg and some official, are quite well done, and we'll soon get into detail. Starting out with the officially licensed pins, these were made in 1995 and I snagged them in a bulk purchase off of eBay. Each of them features different characters and was made by the Kanebo Food Corporation, who mostly does cosmetics now, but at the time they were sold in packs of gum at Japanese grocery stores and featured the likes of Sailor Venus, Sailor Jupiter as Makoto Kino in her school uniform, Luna against 2 hearts, Sailor Mars, my personal favorite Senshi, against 2 hearts herself, and Dr. Tomo, the father of Sailor Saturn, who we meet a little later in Sailor Moon S. On the backs, we see copyright TKTAT. If anybody knows the significance of that, leave it down below. Next up, we have the unofficial or unlicensed pins of my collection. Starting off with the girl herself, we have Usagi eating a Dole Whip done by Ani Pins. This graphic on her is very nice and looks like it could be easily official. On the back, we have the AP pixelated logo and a double back clasp. Good eBay find for sure. Next up, we have Sailor Mars about to deliver a burning mandala in chibi form. I got this in Christmas of 2019 as a gift from my ex Andrea. You're gonna be hearing that a lot this video. It features a double back clasp and a lovely glittery graphic on the inside. Showing this to light is the only way to appreciate it. Now we have to talk about that one. Yeah, the Sailor Mars butt heart pin. When I got it back in 2017 in college, I thought the visual joke was funny and cheeky and edgy, but I didn't think through the implications of it, and I wonder if the creators Sector 7 did as well. Y'all, these characters are young and should not be drawn like that. Taking it over to the fridge now, we have the Sailor Mars soda done by Ocean Bond. To promote Sailor Moon Crystal, this is pretty much a strawberry Fanta, but I like the Toei animation logos. For $3, a little steep for a soda, but worth it. Next up, the Sailor Moon custom Legos that I picked up from New York Comic Con back in 2022. These were made by Awesome Autographed and Collectibles, who sell custom minifigures, regular minifigures, and a number of other collectibles as well. These are super nicely done, the uniforms look pristine, and if LEGO made official Sailor Moon, which would be wild, I'm pretty sure they would look more or less exactly the same as these do here. I think anybody who's interested in LEGO and Sailor Moon would find this a welcome piece in their collection. Each of the Senshi also feature alternate expressions, usually sad, like Usagi's crying here, as per the usual. Oh boy, I don't like seeing Usagi sad. Let's put her with her friends. The expressions themselves are quite well done and in line with each character, with Venus having the same look, Sailor Mars looking angry or determined, Sailor Mercury looking worried, but Sailor Jupiter, oddly, features a smirk. Interesting. Usually it's an opposite expression as the front facing. Each of the backs are also done in nice print, with each of the ribbons matching their fukus and extending onto the leg print, which is something you don't see often in official released Legos. Seeing them all stand together, it just makes me wish they had an officially released set like a Crystal Tokyo. How sweet would that be? If you want a set of your own, check out awesome autographed collectibles and minis. Now taking a trip over to Japan, we're going to take a look at the break time figures of Sailor Mars and Sailor Mercury. The Sailor Mars was a gift from my friend Issei, who visited back in summer of 2018, and the Sailor Mercury was from my semester abroad in Tokyo in spring and summer of 2019. These figures are made by Banpresto and were originally only for release in Japan as prizes. The tops of the boxes feature a Toei animation logo and pretty Guardian Sailor Moon and their star signs. The sides of the box feature nice soft focus views of Tokyo with their respective colors as the sky. These were originally made only for prizes, as you'd have to win them in a claw machine, but you could buy them. The only criticism I have is because of the design of Sailor Mars' figure, she's hard to sit up straight. She always falls to the side because her hair kind of pulls her weight. Still, I love these figures. I love sitting them next to each other like they're having a little convo. They also split apart, which makes it easy for when you want to put them back in the box. It saves them from getting damaged. Of course, you can put them back together, and they go great on a shelf. Next up, from the year 2000 by Irwin Toys, the Deluxe Adventure Doll of Sailor Moon. I went to Albuquerque, New Mexico last year, which is where I picked this one up. It was at their famous comic book store, Astro Zombies. I definitely recommend it if you get the chance. First, that face. Yikes. It's nightmare fuel. Also, she doesn't have the Odongo haircut but pigtails. Little lame. It's cool to see these old logos. This purple and gold one isn't something you see on merchandise much since the release of this. This was back in the English dub days, yet funny enough features katakana underneath the splash graphic of the 5 Senshi, same as on the front, before giving a little synopsis of the series. This exciting animated action-adventure series, and goes on to talk about
the war against evil.
Mission accomplished. The back features a little nice graphic, same as the front and side of the box of the Sailor Senshi. We can see from this description that each of them has a wand, a stand, and removable clothes, and the faces are about as nightmare fuelish as the rest. But I suppose the merchandise for America had to start somewhere. I recommend these more if you're into the international releases. Now, under Tamashii Nations, in partnership with Bandai, we have the SH Figuarts Figures of Tuxedo Mask and Super Sailor Moon. These were originally made to coincide with the 20th anniversary of the show, but these particular figures were done in 2015. I got these as birthday gifts for my 17th from my ex-cat. Thanks for that. Now I want to talk about the packaging. The tops of the boxes are super nice, featuring this cool cosmic bright starlight graphic of Super Sailor Moon and Tuxedo Mask respectively. The graphic continues into each of their silhouettes on the right side. Then, on the right side of the box each, we have graphics of the figures being stood up and posed. Nice looking with a cool background on each. On the left side, we have an alternate pose for each of them. I like the alternate pose side as it shows a little more dynamic, I think. I can't read the back side considering that it's almost entirely in Japanese, but we can see from here the different poses and variations of the faces on each of the characters, as well as the accessories like the Cosmic Wand and the Holy Grail. This is probably the most accurate Sailor Moon figure you can find. Totally posable and accurate to the show. We see she has 3 alternate facial expressions, 2 accessories, and a tree for her hands. You can swap out her hands to put them in different positions, such as the iconic peace sign to her forehead, the iconic Sailor Moon pose. The 3 alternate expressions have her looking determined, yelling, or closed eyes. Now for the Tuxedo Mask figure, and oh boy, 3 layers of plastic. You know this much packaging means this thing came from Japan. We have some inserts for his hands, his rose, brooch, and cane, as well as a cape.
Accessory.
Remove the first plastic layer to get to the figure, remove the second, third, and fourth, and you get the cape. The cape itself has a triple wide extension and features wrinkles on the clothes just like the rest of the Tamashii Nations figures, which is a point in their favor for sure. You can also remove the head and swap it out for his hatless look. With all the combinations, there are so many iconic scenes you can recreate, and they make for great decorations. That relationship is gone, but the figures are still here. The box is the only beef I have on the Tuxedo mask in particular. With all the plastic, it's super hard to close, and it makes you bend the lip of the box. So, that's a mega bummer. You can get it to close through trial and error, but it's not ideal. Still, these figures are super cool, and are some of the favorite in my Sailor Moon collection. With so many pieces, they stand out. Next, the Sailor Moon S fighting game for the Super Famicom. Released in 1994 under publisher Angel, it was developed by Arc System Works. Its official title is Bishoujo Senshi Sailor Moon S Jogai Ranto Shuyaku Sodasusen, which translates to Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon S, Outside Brawl, Battle for the leading role. It has this name because whichever Senshi you play as is trying to get the lead role, according to game story. I'm playing on the Superboy, a Famicom portable system. I recommend this if you get the chance, and this is the only way I had to play it. It plays regular Super Nintendo games if you were curious. After the startup scene, we get this super long cutscene where the Senshi are... I have no idea. I can't read this. If you know, let me know. To begin the game, you can choose from the Core 5 or Chibiusa. Then you have to press the select screen to customize your character's abilities. I'm not sure what does what, so I just tried to make mine well-rounded. I've beaten this game before, but I'm borrowing footage from YouTube channel World of Long Plays. It was the best way to get you quality footage as opposed to just showing you recorded iPhone footage of the Superboy. Normally I'd be playing as Sailor Mars, but we can see the moves are pretty accurate to the show. Except Usagi doing that Hurricanrana flip. That was insane. Mars does a spinning kick, and we see Usagi can shoot Moon Crystal Power, and Mars can shoot Burning Mandalas. Some people say that this fighting game has super broken mechanics, and it does control a bit stiff, but I don't find it to be that bad, especially if you upgrade your things right. Did y'all just see Usagi headbutt Sailor Mars? How long has she wanted to do that for? Like most standard fighting games of the 90s, it's the best of 2 rounds. You have projectile attacks, grab attacks, strong punch, strong kick, light punch, light kick, and slapping around! Look at that! Sailor Mars comes back. Phobos and Deimos are on her side. Her pet crows and her grandpa and Yuichido, the shrine apprentice, are all in the background. Hikawa Shrine's a real place and was the first historical site I visited once I got to Japan. The backgrounds are pretty well done, and I like that it's dynamic. The shadows move with the background as you move around the screen. I've played some of the other Sailor Moon games of the 90s, and I like this one and Sailor Moon Another Story, the RPG. The animations on the sprites are also excellent, and they're super accurate to their drawn inspiration. We also see the game has finishers as Usagi summons her energy. After you finish each round, you get this cute little report card, and then it's on to the next round. Now the sweet and cerebral Sailor Mercury. She's gonna take a whoopin'. Her moveset's pretty good, and take a look at that grab. I think Jerry Lawler would blush at that slam.
Thinking of the right thing, though. Woo! What about it, JR?
No, Jerry. These girls are 15. Next, you fight Sailor Jupiter, who to my recollection was the toughest opponent. Figures, being that she was the toughest of the Core 5 Senshi. You fight in front of the Crown Game Center, in front of Umino and Naru, friends of Usagi. Next up, it's on with Sailor Venus. You fight in front of Crystal Tokyo at nighttime, and Sailor Venus has her Venus Love Me chain. Iconic. Eat your heart out, Moonies. Now you have a game which allows you to stomp Chibiusa. Chibiusa was an annoying character at the beginning, but she gets better as time goes on. Still, you gotta whoop her a little bit. Gotta talk about the backgrounds again. This seems to be the same background as Venus's, but in the daytime. The pink hue is so nice and just fits. Whoop! Once you've finished Chibiusa, it's now time to fight the outer Senshi in Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto. Starting with Pluto, the Guardian of Time. It's because of her that Chibiusa came through the time portal as shown in the back. This psychedelic background is a little freaky, but I think is one of the coolest ones. Next up is Neptune. Also something to note, once you beat all the outer Senshi, they then become playable. You fight at a cruise port, which is a little bit of a home advantage for Neptune. Her splash uppercut looks nice, and man, I can't get over the slams this game has. Straight up brutal. Last of all is Neptune's girlfriend, Sailor Uranus. She was the toughest to beat. We see she fights in front of the same statue. Boom! Another slam! And she's just about as tough to beat as Sailor Jupiter. She can hit you with world shaking, or just charge at you and get in your face. Boom again! You beat her, and you've beat the game. Sailor Saturn, for some reason, isn't in this one. Another thing to note about the game, once you beat it, your character, whichever one you picked, will be in the opening sequence as the main character, as the title would suggest. We see it here with Moon, but I've beaten it before with Mars. My main issue is the hardware itself. Being that this is an old game, it's pretty temperamental and was hard to get to turn on. This is why I borrowed footage. Moving on to the clothes, we have the Sailor Senshi as the Z Fighters from Dragon Ball Z. This one was a gift from Andrea for my 22nd birthday. We see Usagi as Goku, Sailor Mercury as Vegeta, Mars and Venus as Z Fighters, and Jupiter as Tien. The hearts are a super cute touch. While not officially released, this is a super comfortable shirt and one that I love to wear. It's slim fit, and the graphic has stayed fairly nice over the years. Great gift for sure. Next up, the tie-dye Sailor Moon shirt from Urban Outfitters. I got this back in college in 2017, back when I was 19. We got the Core 5 Senshi on the front with a cute little Luna down below. I love the print, even though it's a little faded, you can see the stars up close. It's one of the little pieces about this shirt that I love. It goes great with a psychedelic look, but is a little looser and boxier fitting than the other. Still, I dig it. Maximus does too, once again. Hey. Now from the Sailor Moon store in Tokyo, we have the Sailor Moon Tapestry headband. I'm not sure what this is intended to be originally, but I like to usually use it as a bandana or tapestry. We have silhouettes of the Senshi, as well as sparkles in pink, blue, and white in the background. The logo of the Sailor Moon store and the pink bow are cute touches, and really make this piece what it is. We have this cool checkered pink and white embroidery with stars and heart inlays in the corners. This was the only thing I got at the Sailor Moon store, as most of what they sold was stationery and doll clothes parts, but this is pretty sweet. As you can see, it makes for a pretty sweet bandana. Really ties the look together. Now we have the Luna patch from Zia Records. Zia is, funny enough, the name of the sun symbol on the New Mexico flag. The paint job is super nice and the embroidery is clean. This is an official piece done by Viz Media in association. This was a 24th birthday gift from Andrea. What can I say? My exes were good gift givers. This will go on the jacket soon, but hasn't been ironed on. It's definitely the hardest patch. Maximus thinks so. For the same birthday, I got from my parents the Sailor Moon Vans. This is one of their collab collections they did at the time. It features this awesome graphic of the Senshi on the side with a blue and pink cosmic sparkly background. The gold foil trim on top is very nice as well, and is a cherry on top the sundae. On the side we see this release date. Please hold sales until June 3rd, 2022. On the right side of the box we see a picture of the Vans, and on the other side the off-the-wall graphic with the Sailor Moon and Vans logos respectively. Opening up the box now, we see the shoes, but first I want to talk a little about the packaging itself. The tissue paper on the inside has all the Senshi star signs. Is another nice cute touch to this box. On the inside we also get this nice hollow tag, which I think would have made for a great sticker, right next to the Vans Off the Wall sticker itself. Now for the shoes themselves. Wow, are these stunning. We have patchwork of all the Senshi, Tokyo, and the cats. The rest of the print is either checkered or has the cosmic look on the box of the light blue and star backgrounds. Starting with the left shoe, we see Usagi on the front with a little bit of pink checker patch. We see Sailor Mars on the left side of the shoe with Tokyo in the background and some red checker. On the back we see this dark blue checker with the pink cosmic bubbles, and then Sailor Mercury on the right side of the shoe with a light blue checker. This is a really cute shoe, and I try to keep it nice by not wearing it too often, just like Jordan. On the right shoe, we have Luna on the front with a shocked expression. We also see Sailor Jupiter on the left panel with some green check underneath, and this kind of paisley faded light blue and white pattern. I don't know what to call it, but if you know, let me know. On the back, we see Artemis with some black check, and we see Sailor Venus, his owner, on the right side panel, with Tokyo Tower right next to her. Now for the look on feet. This is how they look when put on, and they're comfortable. Wrapping around the ankle is this soft leather pad which adds to the comfort of the shoe. On the tongue on the left side we see more of that cosmic star print, and on the right tongue we see pink check. This is straight up one of my favorite birthday gifts ever. Thanks Mom and Dad, y'all are tremendous. Now for a little update to the collection. This is all the pickups from New York Comic Con 2023. Starting out, we have the Banpresto Glitter and Glamours figure of Sailor Mars. This was to promote Sailor Moon Crystal Eternals. Sailor Moon Crystal is a reboot of the original Sailor Moon that was meant to have an art style that more closely replicates the manga. While I stick to mostly watching the original Sailor Moon, this is a nice figure. We see it's version 2, as version 1 has a darker hair and darker red. This one has purple hair and a lighter red skirt. The top of the box features this beautiful flower graphic, which gets repeated on the lower right corner of the front. Measuring a foot, it's a great piece. Now for the Funko Pops of Sailor Moon in her crisis outfit and Sailor Mars. I had to snag them when I saw these because Sailor Moon is not a theme that Funko redoes very often. Made in 2016, snag them if you can get them. Now for the Sailor Mars, she was number 92 in the animation series. She has her hands in a prayer position in line with her job as a Shinto priestess. We see she was part of the original line of Sailor Moon Funkos back in the day with the OG Senshi tuxedo mask and 2 versions of Usagi with Luna. It came with a protective case, which I normally wouldn't have gotten, but I'm thankful it did. This is one of the nicer pieces of the collection. Now for Usagi in her Sailor Moon Crisis outfit. She first donned this outfit in the anime during Sailor Moon Super S, which is the 4th season of the show. We see it's a box lunch exclusive, and the packaging is a little more contrast heavy and saturated than the original. We see the line this came with featured Chibiusa and the Outer Senshi. The Outer Senshi don't always get their shine, but they were pretty interesting characters and had some of the more fascinating arcs of the series. Last piece of the collection, the Tuxedo Mask FigPin. This is one of 1,000 and is one of the rarest pieces I own by far. We see a glittery inside of Tuxedo Mask and a nice background featuring his mask and the Sailor Moon logo. It came in this cool plastic case. I think it's better in here. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of fig pins as they're a little tough to wear. I prefer pins about this size. As you can see, it has a bit of a tough time fitting in with the rest of the collection, but maybe it would go well on a bag. I like to put it right next to the Bulma statue on my desk, and above the Primus Woodstock 94, me as a young buck. Ah, young buck, so much to learn. Yeah, you'll get it. Thank you so much for watching. Follow these links here to support the work. Check out jazzymag.net for original comics and interviews featuring one with the legendary Mick Foley and Gary Anthony Williams, aka Ruckus from the Boondocks. Maximus wants J's, by the way.